I had the pleasure of meeting Jeff Rogers, who's a Christian minister. And Jeff had a dream of building a series of remote villages, systems, feeding into a large regional hospital. And building in each of these regional areas in Zimbabwe, a facility that would handle about 60,000 people. Provide them with water, provide them with medical facilities, and provide them with a way to develop agriculture in the area so they could be self-sufficient. I got involved because I could do all of that for him. And we started the first project in the middle of 1985, 86. Completed it in 87, 88, the Zimbabwe project in Chingeli, southern Zimbabwe, 75 miles from the closest, town.
This is a very arid desert area with very, very little water, extreme poverty. The people live in little communal dwellings, but water will make all the difference in turning it from a desert to turning it to an oasis.
Solar is your main source because where you work in that part of the world, there's a lot of sun, but there's usually a lot of wind too. So we had developed wind generators and built wind generators for years. It worked in just this type of an area that lasts. So the wind's a good backup. The wind charges the batteries. The solar charges the batteries. The diesel charges the batteries. The batteries get fully charged, they go into an inverter that invert the power from direct current to alternating current. Then everything there in that complex works just like the lights you have here in the US. Very self-sufficient with an 18-bed hospital, full surgical facility, 30-bed orphanage, and a huge agricultural development where they not only grew what they could eat for the 60,000 people there, but they could also sell in the local marketplaces and raise money that way for other things for their community. The project still is there today, still works as it was originally schemed to work, still working off the original solar panels, still working off of the original wind generators, still working off 18 years later off of the same batteries, because the system I designed carefully to limit the amount of discharge of the batteries and force the renewable energy to charge those batteries. And when the charge wasn't adequate, we had a diesel backup. So the batteries have lasted all this time. The project's still there through a civil strife in Zimbabwe that's incomprehensible how bad it's been. They're killing people in Zimbabwe. Thousands and thousands of people a day. The Zimbabwe government has actually hired gangs to come in and control. And they patrol and kill people. I mean, it's absolutely beyond me how we can let that happen. Those projects are there for one reason. The people bought into it. The people said, this is really good. This is sacred to us.
Sigeleni Afrika, malupanganisu
fresh water. They get light. They get a whole new life. The new project now, the Rogers family, they've left with a container full of their personal belongings. 2 young sons, 15 and 17, to go back and rebuild their life again in a new part of Africa, to Malawi. They have support of the local government. They gave them 108 acres to build on. And we're now assembling the financing and assembling the material and designing the systems to replicate the Zimbabwe project. This will be a larger project. It'll feed more people. It'll be a larger agricultural project, but it'll be a symbol of what we can do for these people. One of the key parts of each of these developments is a school. It's a trade school. So we have teach them how to do agriculture and raise crops and sell them. Flowers, all other staple crops. Because once they started in Zimbabwe, they had more than they could possibly eat locally. It produced so much.
Jeff Rogers and the work here is truly pace-setting and is a model application of sun and wind power for Southern Africa.
And we have an automotive repair school, a computer school, a school for secretaries, carpenters, so they can learn a trade and go into the cities then and survive. Changes their whole life. Changes everything, the way they think. They have food, they have water. They can have a livelihood. They learn trades. Changes their whole life. I support it, and I support it by doing it with them. They're counting on it.